Hello, this is Tom Cloud with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. I want to continue to talk about gold. I've had two incredible conversations in the last 3 days that I want to bring to your attention. Number one is what's going on with China buying gold. The central bank every month reports large tonnage purchases, and there's always been a gray area out there as to how much. I mean, we're supposed to have 8,163 tons of gold in Fort Knox. Many people believe we have nothing. Others believe we have it. We just won't allow an audit. But either way, we only see China when they got special drawing rights from the IMF a couple years, 2 or 3 years back. They only showed over 3,000 tons of gold, not anywhere near the 8,163 that we have, supposedly. So now we're seeing that China is on a tear buying gold. What do the Chinese central banks know that you don't know? Why would a bank be buying gold as fast as China is if they weren't planning on using it to make money? They wouldn't buy income producing assets unless they had a goal for it. So now we see Russia, Brazil, India, central banks buying larger than normal quantities of gold in the Far East. And in the United States, you just hear nothing about this. But what could be the possible consequences? And that is the first conversation I had with I've been doing this 43 years. This guy's been doing it about 45 years. And discussion that he heard as he was in Europe in the last month is two things: that China does plan on having a yuan-backed gold currency, and they plan on having it supposedly while Trump is in office this year or next year. How could they make that happen? They could make it happen very simply by cashing in their 1.2 or 3 trillion in treasury bills, treasury bonds, treasury notes. And then if they got Japan as an ally to buy another 1.2 trillion, we're talking over $2.5 trillion that has about $500 billion of interest we're paying on those treasuries to China and Japan. So let's say they wanted to have a gold-backed currency. Do you think they would hold the US dollar? Do you think they would hold US treasuries? Of course not. They would sell them either quickly and plummet the dollar, or they would sell them off systematically and ease the pain, so to say, for the U.S. But why in the world are they going to keep holding U.S. debt when we can't not only not pay any debt off, we have to create more money in the Federal Reserve to buy treasury notes and bonds that go unauctioned. So we've got to print money to pay ourselves off and interest, and then roll them over and buy new ones. So there's a strong belief that China's about tired of fooling with us, and we can talk about tariffs and we can talk about everything else you want. The bottom line is they partially own us. Japan partially owns us. So when they're ready to go, they go and they pull the trigger and they go. Now, second thing, back in 2000, when the US dollar hit 126, an all-time high, we gave buy signals as fast and as crazy as we could because we knew the dollar was way, way, way overvalued. And 11 years later, it got down to 72. It dropped about 40% in the market of it worldwide. And from the time it bottomed in 72, at 72 in 2012, late 2011, we saw it go back up to where it got up to 107. It's now around 96 as I record this. So if it went down 25% more, it would be exactly 72 where it was when it bottomed 2011-12. So what would they do is, would that be, we're hearing that that will be the reset number for Trump. He's not going to let the dollar go below 72 in the world market no matter what China does, no matter what Japan does, no matter what the big investors do. He's not going to do it. He'll have a reset that you hear so much about. And the ones I was holding gold could have anywhere between 2,400 and 12,000 per ounce. Depends on who you want to listen to. I'm not trying to say a number. I'm just trying to tell you the scenario that it could happen. It will lead me up to the last point I want to make. But you've got to realize we can't run debts. We're up to 22 trillion. Every time I talk to you, I ask you to look at the usdebtclock.org, the usdebtclock.org, and look at the situation this country is in. We've done a good job of selling it, and we certainly have a lot of positive things in this great country that we live in. But we also have a lot of negative things that we try to sweep under the carpet. And it's time that you look at them, because if you get to be my age, you're not going to have time to recover again like you did when things crashed in '07. Right now, as I look at this, I'm looking at it of a $480 trillion investment pool in the world. We only have less than 1% in gold and silver. The largest investment pools in real estate, second in securitized debt, meaning bonds, third in equities worldwide, and fourth, we have these gold and silver. Back in 1980, it was 5% of the investment universe was in gold and silver. Now it's less than 1%, about 0.75%. It's going back to 5%, and it's going back to 5% soon, meaning 24 months, in my opinion, maybe 36, but I think it'll happen while Trump is in office. So hopefully you've gotten yourself positioned. But I want to end this by telling you about a call I had with a super, super wealthy person with a net worth over 500 million, but less than a billion. But he woke up in a sweat one night, realizing that everything he had, except 2 or 3 houses he had in fancy sports cars and different things like that, he did not have a penny in anything that was world accepted. He pulled out his statements and looked at all these tens of millions of dollars, and he said, if the power grid goes down and the computers go off, or some hacker in Syria or some hacker in Russia steals my bank account, we've already seen it happen with all these major companies sending out they've been hacked. What do I have? I have nothing except a piece of paper saying I've got tens of millions of dollars. What if I went and said to the broker, send me my $10 million in your account. Send me your 100 million, the account. You can't send him anything except a piece of paper. And now the computer's not working. Now he has nothing except tens of millions of dollars in assets that is nothing but a bookkeeping entry, money by decree, or a stock or a bond that he can get no hard asset for. Nothing. He's got to have something to live on. He said the dream has become unbelievable. He wakes up just about every night. And he was talking to a friend of his that told him about us, and he called, and I've now talked to him 3 times about this, and he's making a substantial purchase of gold and silver. I'm not at liberty to tell you how much, but he says, it's insurance. I finally figured it out. It's insurance. It's real. It trades in 28 world markets. It's that or my stocks and bonds that are a piece of paper that is one glitch away from disappearing. Or what happens if there's a bank trigger system, banks start failing in Europe, they roll through the US, and we get bail-ins again. We get bailed in, not bailed out, and be like Cyprus and lose over 50% of your deposits legally. So, as I close on this, you've got to have hard assets. I don't care if you only put 2 or 3% in. You should have a lot more than that, because gold and silver are going to rocket, and they're going to rocket in the next year or 2 or 3 at the longest. You're going to see maybe some new highs taken out in gold and silver. If they have a reset, you definitely are, because it's going to be way up there they're going to have to set it to get rid of some of this debt. So give us a call at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812. Talk to Dan or Kathleen or myself. And if you're looking to put some into a self-directed precious metals IRA, we cannot be the custodian, but we can be your broker and we can be your representative, and we can help you build a portfolio looking at gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Right now, as you know, we're not big on palladium because we were right and our clients tripled and quadrupled their money. We've now moved over to platinum. So we can talk to you, but don't be one of those people that have nothing in metals that are liquid anywhere in the world and have all your investments on a paper statement that you would get a piece of paper if you did it. I've said it many times, but God created gold in the Garden of Eden in Genesis and all through the Old Testament when he talks about God owns everything, and he does. Gold and silver literally meant money. It didn't mean a paper stock certificate or a bookkeeping entry on a computer. It meant true money, which is gold and silver, that's controlled by our maker. He controls the amount of gold and silver that's out there, not some computer and not some crazy economist that follow someone like John Maynard Keynes that created all this money out of thin air, and then the Federal Reserve Act that you can go and study yourself. So hopefully today I rang your bell because that's what it was meant to do. Ring your bell, but not only get into gold and silver because I think it's going to be the best investment the next 2 or 3 years, but get into it to cover your basis for blackouts with the power system on down to robbery of bank accounts, to banks collapsing, and you only getting part of your deposits back when everything is settled. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.